Hey, what's up, guys? Dan Plata, Blue Sky Services here. If you're watching this video, you probably already watched the other video or multiple other videos. This is the sales and marketing video specific to the lawn care and landscaping industry. And it's specific to you guys because you have recurring revenue streams sometimes, and then sometimes you got one-time revenue streams and like those transactional clients and bigger projects and stuff like that, which is freaking awesome. And it makes budgeting for you guys really tough, right? Because it's like, how do you spend your marketing? How do you know if they're going to be recurring? And how do you transfer them into big one-time projects? All that cool stuff. Well, I was kind of like dabbling with how the heck do you plan on all that stuff in that industry? How do we build a budget for you guys? And I was like, oh yeah, we just got a budget for both of those things. So you probably already watched the main video, that half-hour video that kind of walks you through how to use the main tab. If you didn't, go watch that one first before you watch this one. This is specifically going to cover the sales and marketing tab that I built out just for you guys. So I'm going to do a little screen share. I'm going to dabble with it and kind of explain the methodology behind it. Let's do it. Give me some screen share coming in. Get that out of here. So here we go. We got our budget sheet. You recognize it from the last video. We got our budget versus actual in here. And I showed this to you in the last video. So I'm like scrolling this thing up to the top so we can kind of see where the sales come in. Right now, it's just using the manual entry that we made for recurring and route work stuff, and then one-time budgeted sales, like the big project work that we got. So 2 revenue streams, they total up to this revenue budget. Now, I showed you in the last video, and I've got numbers typed in here, and I'll kind of talk you through how those work. But if you put use, if you select use, it's going to pull this data into here, and it's going to ignore what's typed in here. And it's also going to pull this marketing spend into ad spend and the labor spend to make those ads happen. Now, the rest of the marketing spend isn't going to pull over from this tab because we're solely focused on the stuff that's actually going to like spend money, acquire clients. That's what's on the other tab. You're still going to want to fill out if you're budgeting for charitable donations, gifts, and that marketing infrastructure. Still keep that in here. I mean, you should keep it in here anyway and like build this whole thing out anyway. But now these numbers are specifically going to feed in from the sales and marketing tab. So let's see. We're just going to keep that use on here, and I'm going to walk through how this is built out. So there's 2 sections to this, and they're like basically the same thing, but one is built for recurring revenue. So that would be stuff where you're mowing, maybe fertilizing, maybe if you're up north and you're doing snow removal stuff and you have people on a route for that. It's anything where you're going back to a client multiple times. It's not just like one big project. It's got a recurrence to it. So that's going up here, and there's some different ways we think about clients that are in that bucket. Now, you're probably also going to have some one-time revenue where you're doing big projects for them. You're doing some hardscaping or some design work for them or something different that takes a different skill set, and it's usually a bigger dollar amount, and it's one time instead of a small dollar amount a whole bunch of times, which is why it's kind of tricky to budget in the lawn care and landscaping space. So we literally split it apart, and we're going to split up your marketing spend apart by this as well. So we're going to try to say, when you spend money on ads, who are you going after with that ad? Now, you might do like postcards and flyers and market both, right? And so we take the cost of that and split it to 2 of them, like evenly split it between both of them. But there might be some where you're marketing a specific service and then put all of that spend into one of these. So kind of break apart your marketing spend. When we bring it back to the main budget, we're going to smash it back together. Same with the sales. We're going to smash those back together. But just think about these 2 different pieces of your business separately is what we're doing here. So let's go over the recurring stuff first. So that's when you're mowing lawns. That's when you're applying fertilizer. Anything else that you do on a recurring schedule. If you're up north in Minneapolis like me, you're snow plowing for a few months. So we've got some marketing spend in here. And I kind of just said and don't take these estimates too seriously here. Obviously, you're going to manipulate them and change them. But I wanted to like capture the essence of what we're trying to do here. So I'm going to say I'm paying $500 a month, like on retainer, for somebody to do AdWords for me or something like that. So I've got some marketing labor contractor spend in here. And then I've got separate ad and awareness spend. And maybe I've got some spend in the winter because I'm trying to do some snow removal stuff. And then I'm also marketing at this time of year to try to like build up a mowing route for the summer, something like that. But maybe that slows down May and June. And then I just keep some ads going to try to like catch anybody that's still lingering out there. November and December, it picks back up for snow removal purposes. So spending $6,000 a year on my labor expertise to run stuff, and then I'm spending another like $11,000 a year on the actual ads for recurring services. And the ratio between those two things, I'm not going to dive into. Typically, the amount you spend on the person doesn't go up percentage wise with how much you're spending on the ad. Usually, you can just like keep a pretty consistent retainer for who that is that's doing the thing for you. But in both cases, you should expect to get a return. If you have an expert working on something for you, take that into account in your acquisition cost. You should get a return on that. So the next line is your acquisition cost. How much do you need to spend on those two items of marketing to get your next customer? And we'll go through the value of that customer next and start building that out into revenue. But you gotta think through or look at historical data of when you spend $2,000 on marketing, how many clients is that going to get you? So in here we're spending $1,750. I put an acquisition cost of $250. Now your acquisition cost probably isn't going to be the same all year long. There's going to be points in time when people are shopping and they're super active and they're really easy to get. You might say like March and April, your acquisition cost is like nothing. And then maybe it gets a little trickier in May and then it slows down again. But you're going to market really hard then because it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You can find a whole lot of people. So your $1,750 in March is getting you almost 12 clients, whereas in February it was only getting you 7. That's what's going on there. So this is how much you have to pay to get that next client. And typically what we see is in your busy season, when there's a ton of people shopping, marketing is really easy, right? You don't have to spend as much to get them. So just an example again of how this works. Now, you may also have a salesperson that goes and gets their own leads. If it's a salesperson that's just chasing your leads that you already paid for here, don't put in more jobs because you're already kind of assuming they're going to sell at this acquisition cost. And their wages and their cost is going to go on the payroll tab. So that's not in here. Don't include that in this acquisition cost. This is just your marketing spend. But that salesperson, you may say, I'm going to give you this many leads and I want you to go get X amount of your own leads for that and bring them in. And so maybe you're going to say your salesperson is going to bring in 2 clients a month or something like that. I put a bunch of zeros in here, didn't I? Oh no. Quick fix. Boom. All right. Had to do that. One of those things from when you like duplicate sections of a spreadsheet. All right. Now we know by the time you get this spreadsheet, that is fixed for you. So maybe you say salesperson is going to bring in 2 clients a month. And then you're also going to have those referrals per month where you don't really have to pay anything for them. Maybe you give like a referral bonus and you could build that into your acquisition cost here. But in general, referrals are pretty much freaking free. So you're asking for those referrals. You're trying to get those referrals. And now if we total up the marketing spend acquisition cost, how many new clients we're getting from a salesperson, aside from the leads we're giving them. These are just like clients that they brought to us, separate from the leads that we gave them to go do the bid and the estimate on. They found us some more outside of our marketing spend, put those in here, put our referrals in here. So we're saying we're going to add 13 clients in those months, 18 clients here, and then it's going to slow down over the summer, and then we're going to add some more in the winter again when we start getting back into like snow plowing. And I didn't differentiate between those different types of services. If you wanted to like just go bonkers with this, and I would recommend that you do, but be a chunk of work would be to duplicate or triplicate this and have any other recurring services with its own section. So you might have one section like this just for lawn mowing. You might have one for fertilizing. You might have one for snow removal, whatever other recurring services you have. I don't think it's totally necessary, but I could, if you wanted to like mess with that, just add, duplicate the section and knock yourself out. So now we've got how many new clients we're going to add. Now we got to figure out how much revenue do we expect to get from those new clients. So I'm going to say a new client brings us $150 a month. And we should be able to look at historical data or kind of look at, well, here's how we sell our lawn care service. And here's roughly how much they pay us per mow. And we got to mow each week. And therefore $150 a month, whatever. Like I'm just throwing numbers at it here. So we've got 13 clients, $150 a month, just about $2,000 of revenue each month from these new clients. And so these are just from the new clients, right? These aren't from the clients that we sold last month. These are just from the new clients. So I'm starting with that. Now we also have existing clients that are on recurrences from before, and we're adding these new clients to that. So I'm just going to say we have 100 clients, and we probably have some attrition rate, which is like people moving, people not liking our service, people finding a different service that was cheaper, whatever the case is. We're going to lose some clients because we live in the world. Obviously, we're going to try to minimize that as much as possible. But here we're saying we start with 100, we sell 13 so that we get into this month, or during this month, we have 113. And I don't scrutinize about the timing of this. Like, yeah, these customers aren't going to just like all show up on the first of the month. We're going to sell them throughout the month. But just for the sake of not trying to get too fine pointed with this, we're just going to say we've got 113 clients after we've sold this 13. At the same time, we know we're going to lose 4% of all of our clients every month. That's our natural attrition rate. So really, we're going to go from 100 to 108 by the end of this month. Super important to calculate that, like plus minus, we call it, which is how many new clients did you get minus how many paused or terminated service. So we're at 108.5 here, fractional clients. And I'm just taking that $150 average job size times our 108 clients. So now we have our total revenue, which includes this 1950 up here. So I'm not adding that 1950 in, but these clients are rolling into here and being included. And now that's like your recurring revenue that you have set for the month, but you might also have a skip rate, in which case it would be something like you had to skip due to weather, or somebody skipped because they didn't have the money for it, or they were on vacation or their kid took care of it this week or whatever. Put in a skip rate if there's a chance that they skip, and that means you don't get paid. Now you might require them to pay you regardless of whether they skip or not, then don't even use a skip rate. But if you have customers that skip and they don't pay you when they skip, make sure you capture that. So I've got a couple percent in here for a skip rate. And now we get down to our budgeted sales on that recurring revenue. So you can see we're adding clients, and that budgeted sales goes from 15,000 per month and starts going up to 20. And then it kind of levels off for the summer. And we kind of like hang there, and then it starts going up into the next winter because now we're doing snow removal again in this case. And we would kind of pick back up here into the next year, right? That's the beauty of recurring revenue. Now, this is actually pretty like quickly growing recurring revenue. Like we're almost doubling this. It's pretty small business. So possible to do that. But you may not see that pace of growth, but that's the beauty of recurring revenue, is like once you have that baseline, as long as this attrition rate isn't too high, like you can just keep adding to it and adding to it and adding to it. One of the tricky things though is once your baseline gets so high, a 4% attrition rate, you're losing. If you have 400 customers or 500 or 1,000, like that 4% attrition rate becomes a pretty damn big number. You got to market like crazy just to make up for the customers that are selling their homes or dying or whatever the case is. So anyway, something to think about in the recurring service model. So that's the recurring sales. Now, again, we're going to break apart our one-time sales because you're also going to be doing projects with bigger ticket prices, and it's more unique things and more supplies and more things going into it. And so we're going to track that separately. Now, the seasonality might be different here because you might not be doing a ton of landscaping projects in the winter, but I'm guessing you're pretty slammed in the summer. So we're going to deliver our marketing spend kind of all summer long, but we're probably going to go much, much lower in the winter unless we're running like specific ads or something to try to like start building the book of business for the summer. So we've got more marketing spend in the summer to try to pick up those types of jobs where we aren't spending a lot in the summer on our recurring services because we tried to book all that business in the spring, right? So here we're saying we're not spending much in the winter. We're spending a lot more in the summer, and then winter comes and we stop spending money on this type of stuff, but we're still going to pay another person $500 to do this. You might be paying the same person $1,000. That's probably what you'd be doing. In this case, we've got $6,000 set aside for that person, and then another $23,000 for the ad spend. We're saying our acquisition cost is $200, and mess with it, like based on what you actually think it is or what the history is, like how much you're gonna have to pay. Again, it's probably going to be lower in those summer months when people are shopping and they're easy to pick off, and it's probably going to be super high in like the winter months when nobody's buying anything. If you override these, understand that now if I change this, it's only going to change the ones that I didn't override. So before I post the spreadsheet out there, which I haven't done yet because I'm filming the video with it, I'll reset this to just be all equal to this one. But just know if you start changing this stuff and then you try to like reset this one, which is meant to change them all for the whole year, it's only going to change the ones you haven't overridden yet. So we've got our new clients in here. Let's put in our salesperson is going to sell a couple of these. We've got 4 referrals every month again, just for fun. So we've got our total new clients per month that we're putting in. And we're going to say our average job size when we do one of these projects is $1,200. We're kicking butt. And so we've got revenue from new clients. These are new clients that we've never had a relationship with. They're not in our database. We had to go out and acquire them. These are brand new clients. That's different than somebody that's in your database because the people in your database are so much easier to market to. You don't need to like spend marketing dollars to talk to the people in your database. They're not hearing you on the radio. They're not clicking on your Google ad. You maybe send them a postcard, which is pretty darn cheap. You maybe send them some emails or do some text bombs or whatever. So we want to capture work from them though too. Like they're going to repeat, whether they're a lawn care customer of yours that is then going to be a landscaping customer of yours. You want to capture that, but they're not in here. You already have their info. You don't need to go get their info again, which is what this is buying. Here you're looking at what was your revenue last year in those specific months. So we said we did 15,000 in January, February. We built up to do 60 or 70,000 last summer, and we finished at 20,000. And this is like total revenue. This is everybody that's in your database. Okay. How much of that is going to repeat? And this repeat rate doesn't include how much of that is going to like repeat as one-time work, not repeat as recurring. So people that are in your database, what percent of them do you believe you're going to serve this year based on that average job size, staying consistent roughly, and how much revenue you did last year? So if in general, 20% of the people that go in any given time, and like I'm trying to find the right way to explain this, but in general, 20% of the people that go in a certain month or go in any time that are in your client database, we're going to call it repeats. And it just tends to be that if July is when it's super busy or June is when it's super busy, that it's always going to be that busy, right? Like there's a reason why it's always that busy. So 20% of the 70,000 or whatever it is, like, yeah, more people in your client database are going to go that month than any other month. They're not going to get like spread out evenly. They're going to follow the same pattern that they've always followed because it's what the weather's telling them to do. So I've got a 20% repeat rate in here, which again is just like anybody that's in our client database that we're remarketing to with emails, voicemails, text message bombs, whatever, super easy to market to. And 20% of our sales last year is going to repeat this year just from people that are in our database. Again, these are total sales, but this 20% is not people repeating on recurring stuff. It's just people that are in our database that are going to hire us one time this year. You might be able to go back and calculate that to help inform your budget for the following year. So we're going to say, yeah, we're going to get a little bit in the winter. 20% of 15,000 isn't a ton, but we're going to get some repeats there for one-time stuff over the winter that we can, knock out because when it's nice out or whatever the case is. And then obviously it's going to scale up. We're going to do more with repeat clients throughout the summer, and then it's going to slow down in the winter again. Duh. So now we're looking at budgeted sales for that. We said we were going to do 262 of recurring. Now we've got 282 of brand new one-time clients, and we've got another 100,000 of projects for existing clients in our database. So we're going to do 382,000 of work, landscaping wise, project-based work. So now we total that all up, and we're doing 645,000 based on these projections. And because this is selecting use, we just go back here and we can see we got our 645,000 in here. But if we're like, man, that doesn't look right to me or whatever, I don't want to mess with that budget. We don't have to lose all of this stuff to take it out of here. If we just delete that, we're back to our $500,000 that we had in here. But let's put this back on real quick. And the other thing to double check and look at is in the sales and marketing section, these dollar amounts are going to pull in here based on the marketing spend that we have here. So it's actually going to total what's in this section and what's in this section. So if we look at June, we're spending $1,000 on recurring stuff. We're spending $3,500 on one-time stuff. So we look over here, and in total, we're spending, this is, oh, I'm looking at July, but June's the same. Here, we're spending $4,500 between those two things. So the two sheets will say the same thing because this is just totaling both of those sections from the other sheet. So we're marketing, we're spending $50,000, which is 7.6% of our revenue. And now everything is going to be based on that sales at the top that pulled in from the other tab. These percentages aren't going to change. Now, if you use like dollar overrides, again, these percentages will change, right? If we said our insurance was going to be $1,000 a month, now we're at 4.9% here instead of 5. If we said our rent was going to be $800, now we're at 4.4% versus this 2%. So those, to the extent you override any of these percent targets won't change, but the percent in your budget will, right? So anyway, I'm getting carried away. That's how you use the sales and marketing tab. And again, this is specific for you guys in the lawn care landscaping space because you've got those two different types of revenue. Super important to capture each one. Think about them differently. Think about how you market to those clients differently. Obviously, you want to get recurring revenue and then convert them and get them into big projects and working on more higher margin stuff in your business. That's how you use the tab. I hope you guys enjoy the budget sheet. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't know why you would enjoy a budgeting video. I hope it was useful. I hope you didn't enjoy it. Maybe you got more joy out of it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I hope it was useful to you, and enjoy your budget, enjoy your holidays, because it's December 18th today. Thank you much. If you need help with bookkeeping stuff, hit me up. I'm easy to find. If you found this video, clearly I'm easy to find. See you guys later.